moving on in this section, we're going to talk about peripheral fatigue. So starting off with local muscular failure. So this is at a distal region. This is not the central nervous system shutting down, but this is actually a disruption in the muscle cell physiology. Now, this can occur under heat stress, or these failures or these fatigue points can happen or be exacerbated under heat stress due to elevated tissue temperature. So this would be the local muscle temperature, not a core temperature, dehydration, but also altered substrate utilization. So there's a lot of downstream impacts of an elevated temperature that can reduce the capacity for sustained force production and therefore accelerate the onset of exhaustion. Now, one of the common methods that's been reviewed is changes in muscle enzyme activity, and the conversion of ATP, muscle performance, depends on enzymatic reactions, as does just about every system in the human body. Now, enzymes are proteins, they're made of amino acids, so as temperature rises, their efficiency starts to decrease. And then when they get to very high elevated temperatures, proteins actually begin to denature. So they actually have severe problems in actively performing what they do. Now, one of the key enzymes is pyruvate kinase, which is involved in the production of ATP. So on the left here, you can see what's the typical chart for optimum temperature. You see enzymes follow a curve. There is a maximum point where they have maximum activity, so rate of facilitating reactions. As temperature starts to get too high, they start to fall off until it gets to very dangerous levels. So it's the same type of curve that we see with human performance in general and core temperature. And then on the right, you see the reaction that's involved with pyruvate kinase, which helps to convert to ATP, which is used for muscle energy production in the muscles. Now, in hot environments, another interesting point is that metabolism changes. So the body shifts towards greater carbohydrate utilization. So this actually will accelerate glycogen depletion. Now, when you combine that with dehydration, this leads to all sorts of things, including earlier onset of anaerobic metabolism, increased lactate accumulation, greater muscle acidosis. All in all, there's a cascading effect when body local temperature increases. Really, temperature we see both at the central level as well as the peripheral level leads to all these downstream effects that lead to fatigue, exhaustion, and decreased performance. Neuromuscular transmission impairment, that is also what we see. So sustained repeated contractions in the heat impair neuromuscular. So there's reduced motor, neuron firing, excitability, efficiency of signal propagation. Again, leads to lower force, especially during high intensity intermittent efforts, so sprints, lifts, or depending on the sport or activity, very sport specific movement patterns. And EMG studies do show diminished muscle activation and amplitude during heat stress. And this is consistent with both the prevailing theories for central and peripheral fatigue. So the cumulative effects come down to reduced time to exhaustion. So endurance is decreased. There's a decline in peak power output and rate of force development. So endurance is impaired. Force power output is impaired. Requires longer to recover between efforts, so the ability to quickly recover is impaired, and then also motor control, coordination, cognition, all of those impacts.